My mom wanted me to be perfect. If I didn't, I would get brutal beatings. Dale introduced me to hard alcohol. Eventually, I just became his weekend toy. I remember brutal beatings. That's the first thing I remember about my childhood. I was a scary little girl. I did whatever my mother said. And my mom wanted me to be perfect. So from kindergarten on, I was perfect. I had the perfect curls, I wore the perfect dresses. I made my mom proud. And I had to have straight A's, had to. If I didn't, I would get just brutal beatings. Nothing was acceptable except A papers. My mom was in and out of mental institutions my whole life. It didn't matter if it was a kite contest, if it was running the track meet, didn't matter what it was. I had to be the best. And I quickly became a success addict because I didn't want anybody to know what was happening at home. So if I was the best, nobody would question me. My mom was having a garage sale one day, and our neighbor across the way, there was an apartment complex across the alley, came over and met my mom. His name was Dale. My dad was away. He took a job in Washington, and so it was just me and my mom. And Dale quickly moved in, and he bought food for us. He bought me clothes. He kind of helped me, and then he asked my mom if he could be my godfather. One day, Dale asked my mom if she would like to have a break and have me over for hamburgers and dinner, and he would rent movies and I could spend the night so that my mom could have a break and do whatever she wanted. And of course, she loved that idea because now she could get drunk again, or she could do whatever it is that she does, and I wouldn't be around. So I went over there, and Dale introduced me to hard alcohol. I'm 11 years old. So he and I sat and we drank our 7-Ups with the whiskey in it. And I drank the whole thing. I was feeling very lightheaded, and he had me come sit on his lap. He told me it was his duty as my godfather to teach me how to kiss. So we went through all of that, and all I remember was going to sleep on the living room floor, but when I woke up, he was next to me. He told me not to tell my mom because my mom didn't like anything wrong. Everything had to be right and perfect, and that if I told her that she would probably give me a beating. So I didn't. As time went on, he would always have me come over again. I'd tell my mom I didn't want to go, but she always wanted that time to herself, and she made me go. Each time I went over, he had to teach me something new. And eventually, I just became his weekend toy. He introduced me to marijuana, told me that everybody smokes the marijuana and make me feel, he told me it would make me feel better. And so now I was drinking these drinks and smoking a whole marijuana cigarette with him and waking up all the time on the floor with him next to me. One day, when I woke up before I went home, he was crying. He was sitting next to me crying. Dale was crying. And I asked him what was wrong, and he told me that he was scared for me because if I told anybody that he would go to jail, and if he went to jail, he would hang himself with his bed sheets, and it would be all my fault. And I could never, ever tell anybody because I would have to live with the fact that he killed himself with his bed sheets because I told. So I never told anybody, and I kept life just went on until one day my dad said that he was sending for us and we were moving up to Bellevue, Washington. When I got up there, I was angry and I was mad. And I immediately searched for other people, other kids my age that were doing pot and alcohol. I believe because I was already addicted. Obviously, my grades started falling. I was getting a little bigger, and she wasn't beating me as much. She was yelling constantly, but I didn't care. I was able to find the alcohol across the street. I had a girlfriend that we, raided their liquor cabinet and all the time, and I was able to just suppress, and I started not caring about life. I never said, please help me, to anybody. And later in this, that is my message. That is what I want to do with my life now, is to reach kids and let them know it's okay to say, please help me. We ended up, during that time up there, I was in the hospital twice. I'd wake up and charcoal had been put down my stomach. It was just a really bad time. That's when I started blacking out, was at age 13. I would drink until I'd black out. Well, my parents thought it was a bad place for me, and so they up and moved me back down there to California where we were. I was going to high school. My grades were awful, and I never went to school. I made it halfway through 10th grade and just quit going. My mom told me that if I could pass the equivalency exam, which would let me go straight into college, because that was her dream, that I become a college graduate, that she would allow me not to go to school anymore. So out of spite, I passed that test, and I started college. Obviously, I wasn't ready for it, didn't last long, and I left home at that time. I went and lived with my cousins in another part of our county and started working with them. But what was nice was they were heavy pot smokers, and I could just keep not dealing with my life. Addiction has no boundaries. Alcohol will take you to another world and not let you come back. And I never said, please help me. I never asked for help. I always thought I could do it myself because I'm strong, I'm independent, I'm success, I can do this myself. And all I did was continue to drink, and it took me, I ended up with my first DUI when my youngest was probably 6 or 7. First DUI, spent 10 days in jail. My 7th DUI. My attorney telling me that I'm going to prison. My husband was in a major car accident. He had broken back, he was very broken. We don't even know how he lived. And I couldn't be there. I was in jail. At the same time, my dad, that I took care of all the time, for 5 years I would go to my dad's every day and take care of my elderly father, ended up in the hospital, and he was dying. He gave up when I got that last DUI. He knew that I wouldn't be there anymore. I needed something bigger than me. I heard God tell me to trust him. I believed in God, but not only when I wanted to, only when I needed to. I talked to him only when I was in trouble. But in jail, in those moments, I reached my hands up to him and asked him for help. I needed help. I couldn't do this alone. And I started reading the Bible. I've read the Bible from front to back. And I all I could do was ask him for his presence, ask him to take care of my kids, ask him to take care of my husband, nurture my kids' hurt and pain, give them some peace because I wasn't there for them. I asked God to open a door, make a bridge, something for my kids just to even talk to me. They wouldn't even talk to me. Every night in jail, I would cover my head with the sheets and just ask God to wrap his arms around me so that I felt comfort, so I wouldn't be so scared, that I can get through another day. And I truly believe without God helping me, I don't even know where I would be today. God said, trust me. And all of a sudden, little miracles started to happen. In that treatment facility is where I met Michael. He came to talk and share his story and give us some hope. And at the end of his presentation, he handed out business cards and said that he wanted to spread his message, get to more kids and save more kids. If there was anybody that wanted to be a part of that, to please contact him. And I knew right then what my purpose was. God didn't send me to prison. God wanted me to share my story. God wanted me to reach children and give a message that anybody and everybody can ask for help. I know there's kids that are hiding alcohol in their lockers. I know there's kids that are smoking and that have problems at home that can just say, please help me. To anybody, to a counselor, to your aunt, your uncle, to your grandma, to anybody. If you're being hurt, just please, if you wake up one day and say to yourself, this isn't right. Did you know it's not right when you're drinking and when you're using? Just go to somebody and say, please help me. People will help you and you won't have to end up like me. I have spent, I think, more than 3 years in prison, in jails, in treatment facilities. It's all prison. 3 years of my life wasted. 3 of my children hurt and destroyed emotionally because of me. My husband, 3 years of our marriage, I have been in prison and he's been alone. Addiction kills. Addiction will take everything from you. And you don't have to get to that point of addiction if you just say, please help me. And that's my message.